Fourth graders. Just a really quick overview of the eye and how the eye works before we do the cow eye dissection. It's important for us to understand how our eye works and how it communicates with the brain before we take it apart and see all the different parts that the eye has. So the first thing that you need to understand about the human eye is that we must have some form of light source to be able to see. So that's not necessarily the case with animals, but for humans, we have to have some sort of a light source. So a lamp, a night light, the sun, something has to be on for us to be able to see and process information. So this lamp is going to be very important to our lesson here. Okay. Now, I'm frozen. Let's get that. Okay, so the first thing that we need to notice is the cornea. And the cornea is the very front part of our eye that lets light into the eye. So that's here. Cornea. And that's this part here. Okay? Then this little hole here that we have is the pupil. That's where light is let into our eye. Okay, and the pupil is just the hole. The iris is the colored ring around our pupil that looks like it gets smaller or larger based on the size of our pupil, but actually the iris is the muscle, and the iris is what controls how much light gets let into our eye. So it's not, the pupil doesn't actually change size. It does, but it's because of the iris. The iris is a muscle, which is super important to understand, that the iris is what actually controls the size of the pupil, not the other way around. So the iris is up here. Okay, let me clean this up for you. The iris is this part and this part. And that's, again, that's the colored, so this is a cross section of the eye. If you look straight on in the mirror at your eye, the iris is that colored ring. Okay. The next thing that you're gonna look at is this circle here. And we can think about it like we think about glasses. So all our glasses wearers, we have these on our face, but then we also have them inside our eye, and it's the lens. That's what helps focus the light and focus what's happening around us. So the lens, and that's that circular or oval shaped thing here. Okay. Then at the back of the eye, and I'll put the highlighter on this part here, okay, that's what changes light into color, shapes, and motion. So that's where the things that we see, that's where it's processed. So the light is let in through our pupil, right? Through the cornea, through the pupil, and back to the retina. And that's where things are kind of processed. And that's what changes, that's where the light is changed into color, shapes, and motion. So that is what we call the retina. Okay. And then finally, we have this guy back here that it looks like it's connected to the retina, which it is. And this is the optic nerve. This is where information is sent from our retina, from our eye, to the brain, for the brain to process what exactly is going on that our eye is seeing. So this is the optic nerve. Okay. So the next part that's important is anytime light passes through a small hole, and it's not necessarily specific to your eye. It's anytime light is passed through a hole, a teeny tiny little pinprick hole through a piece of paper or whatever, the image is inverted, or it's turned upside down. So what I mean by that is when our eye sees something, it takes it and flips that image upside down. So when our retina processes the light into color, shapes, and motion, we see things upside down. Our eye takes in the information upside down. It's our brain that turns everything back the way that it should be and turns it all into, so we're not seeing the world upside down, so that we see things the correct way. That's very important to understand. And next week, when you don't have official assignments, I'll give you an activity if you want to do it. It's optional, where you'll learn and you'll kind of see how that happens. And you'll be able to see how our eyes process the information in a different way. So when you're in high school or college, if you take a photography class, you'll probably make something called a pinhole camera, and you'll learn that through that pinhole, when it prints the image on your photo paper, it'll be upside down, and then you have to turn it around so that you can see the image properly. And that's just something, again, when light passes through a hole, the light passes at an inverted way. So our eye takes in that image and it's upside down. So I'll draw the lamp to the best of my ability upside down, kind of like this. Oops. Oh no, kind of like this. And that's I'm frozen again. That's how our eye takes in, there you go. That's how our eye takes in information. And then, like I said, our brain is the one that turns it around and makes it so that it's the way that we're supposed to see it. So when you dissect your cow eye, you're going to find all of these different parts, okay? And I want you to pay close attention to the optic nerve and where you see that nerve on the outside of the eye, and maybe where do you see it on the inside. And then the cow eye, you'll find something else behind the retina so the retina's here again. You'll find something behind the retina that is specific to animal, and I'm careful with the word animal because technically human beings are animals too, but in the way that we understand what an animal is, it's specific to an animal eye that human beings do not have. So I want you to see if you can figure out what that part is. And like I said, it's behind the retina, and it's super pretty. So just listen for when I say this is a really pretty part of the eye. But that's how our eye processes information, and those are the different parts of the eye. So I just want you to be able to pay close attention to those different parts and see them when you dissect your cow eye. As always, let me know if you need anything. See you later.